Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Hypersonic 55, and after a little while, I'm coming back with another film review. And today's review comes in the shape of the film Source Code. To give you the plot of this film in its most basic form, thanks to the power of IMDb, it is explained as such. The film is an action thriller, which is basically centered around a soldier who wakes up in the body of an unknown man, and then he discovers that he's part of a mission to find the bomber of a Chicago commuter train. And that is basically the film's plot in a nutshell, without diving into the area of spoilers, because to be honest, if I elaborated about this film any more in terms of plot, then I would definitely be going into the spoilers department, and that is the one thing I try not to do every time I do these reviews. Now, the director, Duncan Jones, has done a great job in crafting a very good thriller-based film that has incorporated many different elements that are standard to the genre, but also changed things up a little bit to keep you thinking, and he's crafted a well thought out thriller-based film. Now, Duncan Jones, most people know, was the wonderful director that crafted The Brilliant Moon, which was critically acclaimed back in the year 2009. Unfortunately, to this day, I still haven't seen the film, and I have had ample opportunities to watch it, but I just have not found the time. But by the time this review is out, I probably would have watched it anyway, so please, forgiveness. But yeah, Duncan Jones has definitely gone about and crafted a very good thriller-based film, and it shows that he is versatile in terms of the films that he can craft. I can't wait to see what his third film is about. And with Source Code, only his second film to his name in terms of directing, I can already see a bright future for this guy, and I hope that he does well in every endeavour that he happens to undertake. The cast of the film also do a great job in going about and engrossing you in this story. From the main cast of Jake Gyllenhaal, Michelle Monaghan, and Vera Farmiga, all of these characters are engaging, lifelike, and Jake Gyllenhaal as the center man, he is fabulous, to be honest. I cannot stress enough how much I have enjoyed watching him in this film, because to be honest, Jake Gyllenhaal, as good an actor as he is, I've never been compelled too much in the past to go about and watch any of his films. Besides Donnie Darko, I've never really found myself running to watch any of his films, but this is the first film that I'd actually go about and say, you know what, I'll watch that again, purely because he was actually in this film. And this film showcases Jake Gyllenhaal's acting skills in a fairly diverse amount of ways. It shows not only his humorous side, but his serious side as well, and shows that, he can do action and portray these various different types of emotions fairly well. So, I cannot fault him in this film. He was brilliant. And Vera Farmiga, I have to go about and give a special mention to her. After seeing her in Up in the Air back in 2009, although I saw the film in 2010, I have to say she was wonderful in this film as well. And yeah, good stuff. I cannot fault her either. And Michelle Monaghan, she looked great, and she acted very well in the film as well. And she played her part as the love interest and the additional passenger on the train fairly well as well. So I can't fault the actors in this film. Even the supporting cast that were in the film on the train as well, they were all fairly diverse and interesting and kept me interested throughout. So again, all of the cast in the film were fairly good. Now, before watching Source Code, I have to say I wasn't really all that interested in the film. Sure, it's got Jake Gyllenhaal in there, and it happened to feature the director of Moon in there. So to me, a few months prior to the release of Source Code, it was just going to be another thriller-based film to me. And to be honest, I'd seen enough thrillers in college to go about and get the basic gist of what thrillers are. And in my mind, after the 90s and the Bourne trilogy, I didn't really ever need any other thriller-based film, because I'd more or less seen all of that I ever needed to see to be able to understand, and justify my reason for knowing what thriller-based films are and why I like them so much. So I came into the cinema going to watch Source Code just to see what the hubbub was about, because after the film was released, there happened to be some pretty good reviews lurking around there, and they were saying that, oh yeah, Source Code is a really good movie, it's a great film with Jake Gyllenhaal in there, it's a good thriller, go watch it. And I was thinking, alright, you know what, I'll buy it, I'll see what's going on. And I am glad that I happened to take a look at Source Code. I went into the cinema with a fairly open-minded view about what Source Code would be like, but I did not expect it to be as good as it was. Source Code was a brilliant, smart, and well-executed film, which took the basic fundamentals of what thriller-based films are and made them work in a spectacular fashion on screen. It took all the basic elements of tension, fear, and a range of different emotions that characters would feel in thriller-based films, and implemented it into the film in such a well-choreographed and interesting manner. Also, I was not expecting the film to be as funny as it was. There was a lot of humorous moments in the film, and there was also a fair amount of action in the film as well. But obviously, after reading the plot and looking at what kind of film it was, there was bound to be action in there somewhere. Now, the next part of this, I'm not sure is spoiler-based material really, but just in case there's some of you that haven't watched the movie already, I will go about and mention something that possibly may be spoilerish, I don't know. But basically, here it goes. I also liked how the film implemented a science fiction aspect into the film. That was the one element of this thriller-based film I was not expecting at all. Just when I thought I'd sussed out this movie and understood its fundamentals as a thriller-based movie, there were several other elements that were incorporated into this film that looked like they came from the science fiction genre, and when they were incorporated into the film, it just made the film so much more interesting and more vivid. The film was just so well put together. I cannot explain how much I was liking this film. I have to admit, in the first half hour of the film, I was wondering where this film would go and how the film would plan out, and whether the film would be as predictable as certain thriller-based films that I've seen before. However, the film always keeps you guessing. When you think that you've sussed out something about the film, another element comes into play, whether it be character development or another character storyline, or whether the whole storyline shifts overall. The film always has you guessing. I swear when I was watching the movie, I must have thought at 3 points I must have at least sussed it out, but each time at those 3 different individual points, I was taken by surprise once again. And this film is very clever at going about and making you think that you've sussed something out, but then throwing in another aspect into the film that completely changes the way that you as an audience member think about the film. And that is one of the most interesting aspects about Source Code. So, in conclusion, Source Code is a very good movie. I wouldn't say it's the best thriller-based film I've ever seen, and I definitely would say that, with all these comparisons to Inception, I'd definitely say Inception was still the superior film. And there will be a lot of things that you'll think about after you leave the cinema, and some things that will confuse you. But I definitely say go watch Source Code. It is a great thriller-based film, and of all the films that I've seen in 2011, which to be honest haven't been all that good, I'd say Source Code is definitely the first good film of 2011, and in my opinion it set the standard for 2011. So I'd give Source Code 8.5 out of 10. And I'd highly recommend it. I'm definitely going to go back and watch it again, and yeah, good stuff. So this is my review over. Hopefully you found this informative, and you will watch some of my previous reviews and look forward to some of the other ones as they come along in production. So from me, the Hypersonic 55, this is me signing out once again.